For nearly 40 years, Independence Center has been helping restore the lives of those suffering from mental illness. This year, to celebrate that milestone, we're doing a very special version of their biggest fundraising event, Dancing with the St. Louis Stars, and bringing back many of the former dancers. Joining me now is Ron Daugherty, President and CEO of Daugherty Business Solutions, to talk about this year's Champion of Champions event. So Ron, first tell me, what made you decide to get involved with Dancing with the St. Louis Stars?
I wasn't familiar with the program, with the Dancing with the Stars program, and Tim Wentworth and his wife Robin competed maybe 5 years ago, and so I went to cheer them on, and I was really impressed.
And so why would you tell people that supporting Independence Center this year is more important now than ever?
Well, it's we're in a kind of a crazy, unpredictable time, aren't we? And so there's a lot of stress associated with what we're going through with the pandemic. Also, the pandemic creates a lot of challenges with respect to fundraising and supporting worthy causes. We're at Daugherty, we support a lot of organizations, and there's a struggle everywhere in terms of how do we get people together for a fundraising event during a pandemic. So this is an especially important time to step up and support a great cause, support the worthy work that the Independence Center does at a time where there's even more stress and more anxiety and more depression than there ever has been, and when there's even more, a greater challenge in raising money to support those things, to support the people who are struggling with those issues. So this is a very important time to support the Independence Center.
So Ron, you mentioned that you have a personal connection to this mission at Independence Center of helping those with mental illness. So say a little bit more about that for me.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Jessica. It turns out that after I had decided to dance for the Independence Center, I discovered that one of the founding families, the Hecker family, had a son named Gibb Hecker. And Gibb took his own life due to mental illness. And it turns out that Gibb was one of my first employees. Well over 30 years ago, Gibb worked for me. And even after all these years, I remember him very well. He was brilliant, a brilliant young man, funny, everyone liked him. And none of his teammates knew that he was struggling with mental illness, that he was fighting for his life. And he lost that fight. And so that really struck me when I learned that Gibb was associated with, his family was associated with the Independence Center. And so that's one of the reasons that I've been such an avid supporter. And there's an important point associated with this, and that is, why did none of us know that Gibb was struggling with mental illness? Why did none of us have any idea, those of us who worked with him every day, that he was fighting for his life? And it's because there tends to be, even today, a stigma associated with mental illness. If you break your arm, if you have pneumonia, if you get the flu, there's no stigma associated with that. If you're diabetic, there's no stigma. But mental illness, it's not something that is comfortable for people to talk about in many cases. And that needs to change. That needs to change, because that's the only way that we'll be able to provide the help, all the help that can be provided to support those who could lead such rewarding and productive lives if they just got some help. And that's the mission of the Independence Center. And I'm very proud to support that mission.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing that story with us and for taking the time to talk with us today. Good luck in this year's competition.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.